You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 8th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission for our regular meeting on Monday, April 8th, 2024. It is 5:00 p.m. and we are in Michigan City, Indiana. Our roll call will be a voice roll call. We do have one of our members, Ms. Wilson, on Zoom. She's having some sound difficulties, so we have agreed that if she raises her hand, that will indicate aye. If she does not raise her hand, that would be a nay. So she will let us know through signing today rather than voice. So roll call. Mr. Gertner.
Here.
Ms. Tillman. She is absent. Ms. Wilson. Okay, we got a thumbs up. Mr. Hulse.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Domkowski.
Here.
Mrs. Matias, I am present. Next on the agenda, we'd like to approve our minutes from the March 11th executive session. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the executive session of March 11th.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for March 11th. All those in favor signify by saying, I guess, do I have to do a roll call vote? Yeah, okay. Sorry, a roll call vote. Mr. Gertner.
Aye.
Ms. Wilson. That's an aye. Mr. Hulse.
Aye.
Mr. Domkowski. Oh, sorry. Mrs. Matias, yes. Aye. Next, we have the minutes from the regular meeting of March 11th. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion. Mr. Hulse, thank you for your second. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Gertner?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson? That's an aye. Mr. Hulse?
Aye.
Mrs. Matias? Aye. Minutes for the regular meeting on the 11th of March have passed. Next, we have our claims, April 8th, 2024 claims. Mr. York.
This is Department of Redevelopment claims for April 8th, 2024. For payroll in March 2024, we had CDBG reimbursables, staff, and commissioners. From our operating account, we had the Great American Financial for copier fees for March 2024. We had Saranac Law Offices for legal retainer for February of 2024. From our North TIF, we had August Mac for 2023 activities for Redevelopment Commission properties at the Begley and Concord cleaners site from 11/27/23 through 1/7/24. We had August Mac for 2023 activities for Redevelopment Commission properties for the Begley and Concord cleaners from 1/8/24 to 2/4/24. Barnes and Thornburg for legal services for Bloxham arbitration period ending 2/29/24. HRP Construction for construction of Interceptor Trench Pay 1. We had NIPSCO for electric service EV stations period ending 3/11/24. We have Saranac Law Offices for legal services for North TIF March 2024. Wallach Summers and Haas for legal services for the Transit Center 1/29/24 to 2/6/24. From the South TIF, we had Aaron's Fence Solution for half down on our installation of the fence at Myers Drive. We had DLZ for South TIF Connectivity Improvements Project 1/6/24 through 3/8/24. We had Global Engineering for the I-94/421 Overpass Annual Inspection Report. Haas and Associates for Engineering South TIF Connectivity Improvement Project for 2/26/24 through 3/24/24. Marquis Electric for assembly and install of 10 wall-mounted display cases on the bus shelters. And Saranac Law Offices for legal services and South TIF for March.
All right. You've heard the claims docket for March, actually. I would entertain a motion to accept the claims as presented.
Motion to accept.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second.
Before we vote, if I can just make a quick comment.
Sure.
On the HRP invoice, you will note that inadvertently the engineer's approval, for the invoice, the signature on that is missing. That was just an inadvertent omission. I pointed that out to August Mac both last week and then again earlier today. I do have the corrected one on my phone, so
Okay.
we'll get that to Debbie, get that to you to sign for a later date.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to accept the claims as presented. Mr. Gertner,
Aye.
Miss Wilson. Yeah, she's nodding yes. Okay. Mr. Hulse,
Aye.
Mrs. Matias, aye. Claims have been approved. Next, we have our financial report summary from February 29th.
Yes, this is our financial report for February of 2024. In our cash, in our operating account, we have $172,294.17. In our Southside TIF account, we have $8,417,844.21. Southside TIF debt reserve account, we have $336,308.50. In our Southside TIF capital account, we have $16,199.79. In our North End TIF account, we have $4,709,021.40. In the East Side TIF account, we have $483,414.26. In our Northeast TIF account, we have $902,187.17. On our loans receivable, we have $133,333.00 for total assets of $15,170,602.50.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve or to accept the financial report.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Gertner. You're doing a great job tonight, by the way. We have a motion, and Mr. Hulse, I think I heard you second it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to accept the financial report from February 29th, 2024. Mr. Gertner.
Aye.
Miss Wilson. Okay, thank you. Mr. Hulse.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Matias, aye. The report has been accepted. Next on our agenda, we have the Baker Tilly scope appendix, the advisory services for the solar project.
Yes, thank you. So this is an addendum to add to our engagement letter, which was dated on February 18th of 2021. Baker Tilly have always, well, my time period here has always been our financial advisors. I think we probably have learned a lot from our train station discussions with them. So this addendum is very specific to the solar project. It is a very big project. It's also a little bit more financially complicated than probably our other project from the standpoint of we had finite pocket pools of money that we were working with last time. This one's a little bit more complicated in that it's condos, a hotel space, a parking structure, and like I said, it's on the scale of twice the size of the train station. So this addendum covers specifically our engagement with Baker Tilly to be our financial advisors and representatives and do the financial analysis needed on the solar project to get us to a point where we would be at either bonding, however that looks, or doing our TIF analysis to make sure that we're basically analyzing what's being generated from the tax revenue there. So that's what this engagement letter is in a nutshell.
Are there any questions or additional information?
The fruits of which you will see when presentations are made as to the overall funding structure for the overall solar project. By comparison, a minimal amount will require from the city, but still it doesn't, because of the involvement, we still need to have all the analysis as it relates to the financial viability of the project from the developer's viewpoint.
Yes, and as of right now, we are working I'm doing very limited outreach to them to make sure that we got this in place because I do understand that there's going to be quite a bit of analysis done. It isn't a lump sum amount that they're asking for. It's basically an update to their fee schedule, sort of like an engineer you would pay on an hourly rate. Hence why we like to use them very sparingly as possible, but also to make sure that we use them and engage them as we need them and when we need them. So just say that.
So there is no not to exceed figure because we're paying on an hourly basis.
That is true. That is correct. But also keep in mind that in the end, if we do get to a bonding situation, we can recoup the money. It can be returned to us through the bonding situation, through the bonding means. So we can ask if we keep up with this, which we do, we will request that basically we pay it off.
Okay.
That goes for legal fees and this as well.
I like that option.
I'm sorry, Clarence. What was it?
I said I like that option. So.
Yeah.
Part of that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would entertain a motion to accept the agreement with Baker Tilly, the scope appendix addition.
Go ahead, Bill.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the engagement letter and with the appendix dated March 19th, 2024. Mr. Gertner.
Aye.
Ms. Wilson. Okay, we've got an aye. Mr. Hulse.
Aye.
Thank you. Mrs. Matias, aye. The advisory service document has been accepted as presented. Next, we have a request by Shoreline Brewery to utilize the You Are Beautiful solo site for parking on May 5th, 2024 for an event called Showdown at the Shoreline event. I believe we have Shoreline is on the phone.
Yes, we do. Nick Gerard, head brewer of Shoreline Brewery, is on the phone. Nick, if you want to jump on and just tell us a little bit about what you're doing and what you're requesting, and then we can go from there. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for your time today. We are doing a professional wrestling event in the parking lot at Shoreline, which is going to take up a great portion of it. We're expecting a couple hundred people for the event. And because it's taking up most of our parking lot, we were hoping to use that area for parking for the event so it didn't overflow onto the street and other people's parking lots. It's going to be held in the afternoon. It's a 3 p.m. start, so it won't go too late either. And it's also celebrating the release of our Mexican lager that day. And that's really the whole
Sounds like a fun event.
It should be a great time. And it'll be a lot of work, but hopefully a lot of fun.
That's definitely something different. Alan, would we require them to have an insurance rider on our property? I'm assuming we would. I like the fact that it's not a multi-day; it's just a matter of hours. But we probably still need
It does because they're still they do.
Yeah.
And additionally, you throw on top of that the fact there will be alcohol syrup. We need to make sure that happens.
Okay. Nick, if the board approves it tonight, I will make sure to get you. I will have Debbie send you the needed amounts for because they're all standardized for our insurance across the board. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to approve the request by Shoreline Brewery to utilize the parking on the You Are Beautiful solo site on the 5th of May for their event.
Could we? Does that also include having the insurance information rider or?
Yes, provided.
Oh, okay. Let's have that added as well, provided that the Shoreline Brewery has acquired the correct insurance and rider through the city. Is that fine? Okay. We have a motion.
I don't know if that was a motion, but this will be.
Okay. All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Okay.
Good. Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the request by Shoreline Brewery. Mr. Gertner.
Aye.
Ms. Wilson? Okay, great. Mr. Hulse?
Aye.
Mrs. Matias? Aye. The request has been approved. Thank you, and good luck with your event, Nick.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Okay. Moving on, we have a request from LaPorte County Convention and Visitors Bureau to utilize the north and south lots at 7th and Franklin on August 3rd, 2024 for the Grand Prix Block Party. Anyone to speak to this?
I don't. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, come on up. See, you got to be here in person, so you get to get in the front. So, thank you for being here.
We just wanted to,
Would you introduce yourself and tell us who you're
Yes.
representing? Thank you.
Kelsey Miller with the LaPorte County Visitors Bureau.
Thank you.
We are just having our block party and boat parade we do every year that's attached to our Great Lakes Grand Prix event. I know we've used the lots in the past, so we were just wanting permission to be able to use them again this year. So it would be the south end of 7th Street from Franklin until Washington, and then also the north end of 7th Street, those little grass lots there. So
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any additional information?
What'll happen is they'll go to, because think we'll close down 7th Street as well, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes.
we'll go to Board of Public Works, and then we'll get the insurance certificate for that. We still need it, but what'll happen is they'll name us and the RDC and the city. In fact, I don't even know. It may be just blanketed because we're partners with you.
yes, I believe so.
So-
Yep. And it's already been to the Board of Work
I
for all of our
guess too,
closures.
yeah.
Yep.
So I'll figure that one out. But I think we're partners in it, so I don't know. We may be already covered. We need to be pre-identified. Okay, I'll get with Alan tomorrow. We'll figure that piece out. But we've done it every year, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We appreciate you being here. So we have a request to utilize the north and south lots at 7th and Franklin for the Grand Prix Block Party on August 3rd, provided that we have the insurance issue nailed down, as we have done every year. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Gertner.
Aye.
Ms. Wilson. Thank you. Mr. Hulse.
Aye.
Thank you. Mrs. Matias, aye. The request has been approved. Next on the agenda, we have the MOU between the City of Michigan City and the Redevelopment Commission for landscape maintenance.
Hello.
Hi there.
I want to let Sylvia do. You may recall that every year we bid out our landscape maintenance for our properties that we own. Mayor sit down with me and Sylvia, and this year we would like to do something a little different, and I think it will help out everyone involved. Sylvia?
Yes. So the city would like to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the redevelopment department for landscaping services to be rendered to Vector. So it's basically taking we're asking for 65,000 to be allocated to the Vector department for landscaping services of our redevelopment sites. Normally we would quote them out, and they come between 78,000 and I think the highest one that I've seen was 98. And so we were interested in employing more individuals in the city through the Vector department longer. They're seasonal individuals by offsetting some of their costs with the funds from the redevelopment department that we would utilize to give to someone else outside of the city. So keeping people employed here longer is the number one aspect of this MOU that will help the city move forward as far as keeping seasonal workers employed.
Yeah, we still would get the same service and we would still be doing the same mowing. We've talked to Director of Vector, Mr. Brett Kelly. He's assured us that his employees are top notch and that they will get done what we need done, but also it would be a boost to them to have a little bit of extra money from the redevelopment commission or this influx of money because it would allow them to extend their seasonal workers, and which is a good thing for the whole city as a whole.
Yeah, makes good sense.
That is it.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to accept the MOU between the City of Michigan City and the Redevelopment Commission. Sounds like a win-win.
And just, I'm so sorry. In the next step, we would still have to go, once it's approved here, we'll go to the Board of Works and get it approved, and then it will be official.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
If
President
approved
McKay?
here.
May I ask a quick question? Sounds like a great use of employees here and definitely support it, but just question on what did we bid? What did we end up paying last year for these services?
Almost 80,000, a little less, I think it was like 76, 78.
Yeah, we actually went with a different company last year, so we did have some savings.
Mhm.
We were still at 80, and the year before that, I believe we were close to like 120.
And then I think this will be a better choice from my perspective because they know the sites, they know where all these locations are. They're going to get the complaints before we get the complaints. And then they're going to call us. They'll call me with the complaints. And then I have to call a different company with the complaints. Whereas once the complaints come in, then they can go, they'll probably already have it. So there won't be any complaints. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit easier for us to send out our vector kind of. We get a complaint, it comes in, we send out our vector immediately rather than working through someone such as a landscape company who basically already have their week planned out.
No, that makes sense.
Yep, and they're going to only come that one time, whereas, grass has a tendency to grow at its own pace. Nature does its own thing, as we saw today.
Thank you.
No
Did
problem.
a great job. So we have an MOU for landscape maintenance, and it has many smart benefits, including being cost effective. We need a motion and a second.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Gertner,
Aye.
Ms. Wilson,
She's mouthing
is she saying aye? Okay, all right. Oh, thumbs up. Okay, thank you. Mr. Hulse,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. Matias, aye. The MOU has been approved. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do you have a copy? Okay.
Yes, we'll get it signed. Thank you, Sylvia.
Next on the agenda, proposal for site and ditch clearing at Bay Logistics, 923 West US Highway 20.
I'm going to take this, and then Clarence, if you don't mind, if you can jump in if I don't clarify or speak as fluently about this. Bay Logistics moved into an abandoned, I would call it an abandoned warehouse. There was pieces of it being used, but Bay Logistics basically moved in and made a major investment and fixed up the whole entire warehouse. And then they have plans for to expand their business here as well. They are located at the corner of Hitchcock and 20, and they, like I said, have made a major investment in Michigan City. And when we were out there talking with them for their ribbon cutting, there were some flooding issues that have been going on over there. There's actually a lift station right beside their property, and then there's also a ditch there. So at the time, it was thought it was going to be a major lift. I think we thought it would probably be around $50,000, $80,000 to do this project. They were good enough. We provided them some expert people to take care of this project for them. They are willing to pay half of what we have here, but I would ask that we pay all of this 100% because I don't think it's much to ask of them, and they are taking over an abandoned building and are generating money into our TIF at this point in time. I would say that this is equivalent to a facade grant, if you will, but that's how I would look at it. But again, they are willing to pay half if we do not want to do that. But I would also ask that the board consider the major investment that they have made here. Clarence, do you have anything to add to this?
I guess the biggest thing for me was when they came in, they didn't ask for anything, no incentives from us. They spent over $6 million to renovate that building. The building was triple electrical parts and materials, and they came in they came in and spent money to fix it up and didn't ask for anything. So I think it's a small favor for them to come and say, hey guys, the ditch is kind of on the edge of the fence. It goes into public lands or on our property. You guys help us pay for it. So I agree with Skylar. I recommend we'll pay the whole thing.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the total cost of the project for $13,453.75 for Bay Logistics to have the clear and the grub trees along the ditch and the extended ditch on the east side along the culvert and opening up the ditch on the north side.
I'll make a motion to approve the total cost for Bay Logistics at $13,453.75.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the,
So is it for Bay who's getting this, or is it for Woodruff and Sons?
So this is the contract that Woodruff and Sons, they bid it out. They had a couple of takers that looked at it. This is the one that they've chosen to go with.
Is the 13,000 going to Woodruff, or is the 13,000 going to Bay?
The way that it's written here, it would be to Woodruff because it would be from Bay. We probably have to get that clarified. This is all that I have from them right now. I'm not sure exactly legally what we would do to do that. Would we have them pay for it and then we reimburse them?
I think it'd be better if Woodruff just billed us directly for it.
Okay.
And let's just do it that way. So basically the motion would be to engage with Woodruff for the clearing the brush and the ditch clearing the amount of $13,453.75.
So what I'll do tomorrow, if this passes, if you so choose, I will call Mark, or me and Clarence will call Mark. I think Clarence has his information, or Caroline does, and I will make sure that he understands how we're going to do this. Is that okay? I'm okay with that. And we have a relationship with Mr. Woodruff or the Woodruff and Sons already, so we wouldn't have to do it through all the setting up a new account, et cetera, et cetera. Absolutely.
it does.
I agree. Agreed.
I'd like to revise my motion and propose to pay Woodruff and Sons directly to assist Bay Logistics for this project, $13,453.75, paying Woodruff directly.
Great. We have an amended proposal for this Bay Logistics Woodruff project. We have a motion, and do we have a second, Clarence?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor signify by, oh wait, I have to call the roll. Sorry, old habits. Mr. Gertner.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson? She's nodding yes. Thank you. Mr. Hulse?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Matias? Aye. The agreement has been accepted. Next on the agenda, Sanitary Relief Project US 12, additional funds for roadway engineering for service road and trail.
Yes, so let me go over this a little bit. You may recall that, was it last month? I want to say it was last month or the month before. We provided some engineering service work to the sanitary district. I think it was to the tune of $276,000. That is allowing us to move forward with our relief, US 12 sanitary relief project that we're looking at there, which is really important because we're at max capacity. Well, we're near max capacity for our northern section of sanitary right now, or sanitary sewer. We want to provide a relief through underneath the US 12 that will come down the old Nickel Plate Railroad, which is a piece of railroad that the Redevelopment Commission owns. I had Mr. Tim Warner reach back out to GLE because one of the things we really want to make sure on top of this, if we're going to put a deep sanitary relief valve, a relief service here, we want to make sure that we're putting a trail back on top of this. And I know that mayor's for this. We have included it in a couple of grant applications as well. We have actually included this into our RIF application as well, which is the Residential Infrastructure Fund to IFA that we submitted. But what we would like to do is go ahead and engineer the trail. I call it a trail. It's more of an access road / trail because they will still need to access this sanitary sewer to get to it in case there's going to be manholes along it. So this is for an additional money to go to GLE to make sure that they're doing all the geotechnical work and the engineering for the service road / trail that we're calling it. The additional need for this would be we approved 276,000. We're at 326,000, so the difference is about $50,000, if I'm not mistaken. So, I would ask that we would approve that to do the additional engineering for this service road / trail to make sure that we get this in place, not just for service, but so people can walk and recreate on the trail, and it connects to the Singing Sands Trail. And it connects through this neighborhood. So I think it's a good project to do. And like I said, we are seeking alternative funding mechanisms for the actual construction at this point in time. So this is strictly for engineering services.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to accept this updated proposal for engineering services.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Gertner.
Aye.
Ms. Wilson. Okay, thank you. Mr. Hulse.
Aye.
Ms. Matias, aye. The motion has carried and the proposal has been accepted, the updated engineering proposal. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have funding for the flock safety system, Michigan City Police Department.
I'm gonna let Alan take this one.
We have Chief joining us as well. The last year, the Redevelopment Commission funded originally the first year of a pilot project with the Michigan City Police Department for the implementation of the flock safety Raven gun system, which is a nice fancy way of saying that whenever there are shots detected within the region, within the area, that immediate notification to law enforcement occurs as to specific location. And the twofold benefits of that from a law enforcement viewpoint has been to actually apprehend suspects in a very short period of time. And then the second thing is to render aid to shooting victims in a much more timely time period. The project, from talking with, I guess, the three chiefs now that I have a conversation with, is it is very successful on both those fronts. And so what we're down to now is seeking refunding of that for 2024 for the duration of the year. And following up on that, friend, I kind of explained that to you in an email that I sent to you yesterday. Assistant Chief Forkers here, and I can kind of explain a little bit more, not only about the project, but also from the viewpoint is a specific dollar request that is being made at this point. Originally, last year, we did fund $75,000, but the cost this year is only $48,000 and change. And I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, again, Steve Walker, Assistant Chief of Operations. Again, Chief Corley apologizes. He's out of the state right now in a school board conference. But again, thank you to the commission for allowing us to speak today. Again, like Mr. Cernick indicated, the Flock Raven system is a shot detection system that we have here in Michigan City. It works in conjunction with our Falcon cameras that are the license plate reader cameras. They essentially describe those two as peanut butter and jelly. They work together, not only to locate shots, accurately locate, like send us a street address, and then those cameras work in conjunction to if there's any essentially vehicles in the area, right, that can give us immediate lead information to whom might be responsible. The Raven system itself has, I would say, drastically reduced our legitimate calls for service. Legitimate calls for service for shots fired. Chief Corley indicated up to almost 40% for legitimate calls for service. So that's where we can go and I would say prove that obviously shots were fired, right? We locate evidence to indicate those calls. So, traditionally, right, we get somebody hears something, they might call right away. They might, get the runaround. Obviously with the shot detection, it's It's sped up our response times immediately, like Mr. Cernick indicated. We get those notifications immediately, whether it's an app on our phone, on our mobile data terminals, or on our computers at the station for our commanders. We get those notifications upon, alert, which has drastically reduced our response time upwards of probably 3 to 5 minutes on some calls. So again, that allows us to get to the call for service to not only quicker, but a more accurate location. So again, it's helped us tremendously on that. And then again, I think originally the pilot plan was the city has 4 square miles of flock coverage. The Redevelopment Commission had paid for 3 originally at $75,000 for those 3 miles for the first year. Again, as Mr. Cernick indicated, this year, essentially because it wasn't finalized, and I would say final installation wasn't until about this time last year, they gave us that credit essentially for, sorry? Yeah, $26,897.26. So that's why basically this year to essentially renew those 3 square miles would be the cost of $48,102.74. So again, it's just using that money that was obviously previously allocated. Part of that rolls over because of the installation, right? The time that it took to install that. So again, it has been very effective for us already. Again, we're looking to continue that with obviously throughout the city. It's a very effective tool, and it's like already I have a couple cases if you want to hear about them that, it's helped us tremendously.
A question, when you were putting these in, I went to a couple of the public presentations, and this was a pilot to start with 4 miles, and I think I remember that it was supposed to expand. So what's the expansion plan, or is there an expansion?
I would say the expansion, I mean, we're not looking to expand right now. We found that the 4 square miles right now covers the majority of the city.
Okay.
It's not 100%, but we used obviously previous calls for service and whatnot to strategically do that. So it does cover a majority of the city. So
okay.
Right now, I mean, obviously, ideally, we'd love to see 100% coverage. I think we'll hopefully get to that point maybe eventually, but obviously with this stuff at 25,000 miles or $25,000 a square mile, we have to look at the cost impact. Right now, I think it's very impactful in a positive manner right now where we're at. Probably look to expand here, I would say, in the future as we expand the whole,
right.
The flock as a whole.
Okay, thank you.
2 other comments just real quickly is that, first of all, as the chief said, is that, as I covered before, it's important. I mean, obviously, the number 1 priority when this project first started was for the law enforcement aspect. But the kind of nice thought that we would have would also be able to render aid to shooting victims. Mm-hmm. And I know when I was talking with Chief Corley last week, he detailed specifically that we saved the life of somebody because of the quick response time that ordinarily probably would have passed as being a shooting victim. So that's the second aspect. The other aspect, though, is from the viewpoint as it relates to development and economic development. Clearly, a safer city results in more investment within our city from an economic viewpoint. The statute does now permit for this to occur. So we don't have the same kind of hindrances or have to go through the same gyrations we had to do last year. So we're on steady legal footing, much more steady legal footing than we were last year. I thought we were on steady legal footing last year. We're on much better steady legal footing this year. So
thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Hey, Chief Worker, thanks for coming by here today. Just was curious. It sounds like this detection system has also been used for some of the highlights here recently in the newspaper, catching some cross-country thieves. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, that was the essentially ATM scam, right, or the ATM card readers, right? So that so again, when we talk about Flock, everybody automatically assumes the license plate readers. Flock is the umbrella company. They have the Falcon, which is the actual cameras. the Raven, which is the shot detection, the Falcon cameras, again, just essentially, I think it was a department out of Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, flagged a suspect vehicle that was involved in several like ATM scamming devices. And we got an alert on that, right? With when that vehicle entered into Michigan City. One of the officers that uses flock quite often, one of our proactive officers, Officer Lewis, essentially located that vehicle. The suspect was arrested. I want to say it was like 12 warrants, I think, out of Colorado. And again, it was multiple, or suspects in multiple ATM like scamming devices or skimming devices where they're taking, credit card information. Obviously, we can only assume they were coming here to do the same thing. But here's somebody who's essentially probably going around the Midwest, and we brought it to a halt. Obviously, because of this, right? Unless we're sitting at the city limits, just running every single license plate that comes through, essentially that's what these cameras do, right? It can alert, it allows other agencies that have the flock system to set up these alerts and allows us to get those alerts as well. So there's a lot of interdepartment communication that happens. So again, something that, probably several hundreds, if not thousands, victims of, skimming devices were, brought to justice, hopefully here in Michigan City. So,
Yeah, appreciate you giving us kind of that feedback. It's it was kind of crazy to see that how many victims there possibly affected.
And it's really become, when we talk about the flock system, it's really a force multiplier, right? It's something that, essentially I could sit out there on the road and every license plate that went by, right? It's in public view. We have the right to run those license plates, right? And do that. But the flock system is a force multiplier, does it automatically, right? Much more efficiently, relays that information, the relevant information to us, which still has to all be human verified. So it just essentially, it's just eyes out there for us and helping us be more effective, in apprehending it, criminals like that.
Thank you for that
Yep.
information. That's really helpful. I would entertain a motion for $48,000 funding for the flock safety system renewal.
I'd like to make the motion to fund for 48,000. I don't know the exact amount, Sheila.
Wait a second. You're there. How nice. Oh, good job. Good job. All right. We're happy to hear your voice.
Thank you.
The motion should be for $48,102.74.
48,000. Say that again. 74. Okay. So you would like to make a motion to that effect, Ms.
Yes, I would.
Okay. Thank you so much. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. We have a motion and a second for the funding of the flock safety system to the tune of $48,102.74. Mr. Gertner?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Hulse?
Aye.
Mrs. Matias? Aye. Resoundingly accepted, approved the funding. And thank you, Chief, for coming. We appreciate all that you do. Next on the agenda, we have the 11th Street Station, the garage and residential tower updates and approvals.
No approvals, just a small update tonight. I think the panels will start coming in at the end or around the 1st of May, end of this month. They've been set back by a couple of things, found some foundations we didn't know were 5 feet under the ground. So it's a city, you're always going to have things like that. We've had a city here for over 100 years, so there's going to be things in the ground that we just don't know. But regardless, we are on track to receive our panels. Panels are produced. You'll probably see those being trucked into the city around the end of the month, 1st of May, and then being staged and set on site for the next few weeks after that. So that's really it for that project today.
Thank you. So nothing that needs to be voted on.
No approvals,
Great.
unless you've heard of something. Okay, I haven't heard of any approvals, so.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the South TIF Connectivity Improvement Project. Any updates or approvals needed?
No approvals tonight, but we do have some updates. We have had conversations with property owners regarding the extension from Town Center Drive to Walmart Drive. We've met with we've met with both owners that were kind of, wouldn't say holding out, just kind of wanted some more information on this. I think we have a path forward with one of them at this point in time, which I think is a very viable path forward. So I will be bringing that to the commission probably in the next couple, probably next month we can get it done. Our legal team is talking to their legal team, and then hopefully we can negotiate a deal that will be beneficial to us to get a road built, and then also beneficial to them to get a piece of land back on their tax rolls. So
Excellent.
that's it for that. Alan, anything new on you want to talk about Myers?
Really, I finally have a contact person at Meyer. As you may recall, we had an agreement, we had approval, we have verbal approval for that Meyer will deed to us their roadway so that we could make the repairs, which we already have. And so then when I sent the revised deed back to them back at the end of January, I received no response. Finally found out a couple of weeks ago, the third person I've been dealing with in this project has also left Meyer, but they have signed me a fourth person. I've had extensive conversations with her. We've made more revisions to the deed, none of which are anything major. They're more just superficial to basically protect Meyer, to make sure that we're not going to tear down their light posts or anything like that, which is understandable. So those modifications we made tomorrow or Wednesday, we sent back to them. And then the waiting game is for them just to go through that conglomerate before they get their signatures and back to us. I think the last time we did this, it was about a 6-week turnaround. So hopefully we will officially own the road at that point.
Thank you. Let's move on to the You Are Beautiful site. Any updates on the SOLA site?
Well, obviously we're moving forward. We approved Baker Tilly tonight, so I can start my conversations regarding the actual incentive package of this project, the TIF analysis, making sure that we're making good decisions with our TIF money and being good stewards of that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We just kind of been waiting on that. We have had conversations with our bond counsel already, and we've talked with SOLA's bond counsel and then their financial analyst as well. Now it's kind of really up to us to do our homework and put our pieces together. We will be bringing a revised development agreement to the Redevelopment Commission, probably, hopefully this coming month. That's a lot. We're putting a lot on Alan. Hopefully this month. But we really needed to get Baker Tilly in check and make sure that we're doing what we need to do with them. So we'll be working hard on that over the next couple of months. I know a lot of people are asking questions about that project, but it's still moving forward. It's just the reality that it's a very big project, a lot of moving parts, and we're just trying to make sure we're making good decisions for the city.
Thank you. That is a big project with a big footprint. All right. Any report from our legal counsel?
Couple of things. First, there was an executive session held before this meeting. No items were discussed that are not permitted by the open door law, and no decisions were made. Secondly, we have had 2 requests for freeway alcohol permits within our TIF district. President, as you know, that you've appointed and they have accepted Sheree Wilson and Tracy Tillman to serve on this commission. So we would expect that we'll be bringing that, at least one, if not both, to the commission next month, once we've had a chance to meet. Sheree, I'll get with you and get with Tracy so that we can coordinate a time in which to do that. Next on the Trail Creek cleanup project, as you may recall, it was 2 months ago, we agreed to provide to the law firm of Vice Miller in Indianapolis, they sent the amount of $1,500 to do a file check for files that were in which they had represented Aaron Craft better part of 20 years ago, I guess. I think it was in 2005, if I remember right. We have now received some benefit from that. They have, Aaron Craft was insured by a company by the name of an Essex Insurance Company, who are still in business. Unfortunately, a lot of those documents are confidential. To answer that, but and again, just kind of back up a little bit here, we have not necessarily a definitive judgment amount, but we do have a default judgment against Aaron Craft. And that's in place. We're still in the process of trying to figure out what that dollar amount is, given the fact of the cost that we've incurred for cleaning up Trail Creek. So the next step of this process, basically, it's a collection action at this point. We are, and once you have a judgment, the next part of that is called a proceeding supplemental, in which you're talking to the person who has a judgment against them, how they're going to pay off that judgment. And that's where we are now with Essex Insurance Company, and we will be commencing with a proceeding supplemental against them. The ask at this point will be $1,760,655.79. I'm sorry, take that back. Our settlement demand will be roughly $1,250,000 of the insurance company because of which if we can get that, and don't know at this time that's a realistic request or not, but that certainly is going to be the demand, given the fact that that's how much money we have now spent above and beyond the payments that we have received previously for the Trail Creek cleanup. And that does include the trench interceptor, which we are in the process of installing. So that's obviously good news that we have somebody who's available to do that, who's solvent. And then the question just comes down to forcing them to pay that. And we should know that, I think, within the coming months. But that'll be the next step of that process. Finally, on the trench interceptor, we continue to try to, that has encountered several obstacles within the city and the city sewer system, and then IDEM, more restrictive requirements that at least August Mack had not anticipated that would be required. And having had enough experience in dealing with IDEM, particularly on this, but also with regards to the station block, you never know what they're going to tell you that you have to do. So it would be easy to criticize August Mack. You should have known this. I know firsthand, no, you can't, because you have no idea what IDEM wants you to do until after you've done it. So, but that is all coming to fruition. We expect work on that will probably occur latter part of this month, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, and then we can get that done and over with. So that when we meet in May, it's installed, and then we can start monitoring everything for that. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Any reports from our director, or you have anything?
I would just say there's a lot of been meeting with a lot of potential new investors in downtown for businesses, for apartments, for just development in general, which is really good for Michigan City. I know that we're getting a lot of notice in social media. Clarence kind of keeps up with that a lot and sends me great updates. So we were in Crane's magazine again. You shared that, Madam President, and it's just great to see Michigan City kind of really on the radar with the things we're doing here. And it's a really great city. We deserve it.
Thank you. Any public comments? Anyone from the public, either in person or via Zoom, that would like to make any comments? Any public comments? At this time, we'll close public comments. Any commissioner comments?
Wonderful.
Thank you. Go ahead, Clarence.
I wanted to follow up with what Skylar said. We're getting a lot of interest from the development community across the country, not only in Chicagoland, so which is awesome. Last month, we had over 4,000 hits on articles we put on LinkedIn, and getting a lot of interest. People want to know what's going on. We've been doing a lot of presentations in our office, well, Skylar and Carolyn, the last month and a half or so. But I'm glad to be here and just be part of something exciting in Michigan City. We waited for this for a long time. I know a lot of the past administrations have put in a lot of work with plans and infrastructure, so we just don't see those things come to fruition. So excited to be here.
Well said. Sherry?
I just wanted to thank you guys with your patience with my technical skills today.
It's always challenging for all of us. Anyone else have any comments? Mr. Gertner, you've said a lot of things tonight. Thank you for your help in getting the meeting executed. Clarence, anything else?
No,
We're all good.
be here and alive. How's that?
Yes, we are glad that you are on the mend. Our next commission meeting will be on May 13th, 2024. And if there are no further comments, the meeting stands adjourned. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.